off of the bench. Unlike most everybody else in the front court, though, she did struggle staying on the floor yesterday because initially of some fouls, but then Coach Butts just went in another direction. But she has been taking care of the basketball a little bit better than many of her post-playing counterparts. So she is in there. Brianna Workman is not. Ashanti Coleman, Jalea Bennett, Taryn Griffey, and Keandra Cannon will indeed come out as starters as the Wildcats are wearing their road reds. We can confirm that Tiara Huntsman, Alexis Hill, as well as Candace Brown, Olivia Parker, and jumping it up against Coleman. Well, I can't see the number. But the ball is in the center circle, and we're underway as the tip is going to come back and get controlled eventually by Jalea Bennett. And Wildcats will begin with the basketball going left to right with just inside the three-point line, off angling to the left. Deja James wanted to fire it inside. Instead, she goes back to reset with Griffey out of the corner in front of the Gardner Webb bench. Back to James as she holds, peers inside. Now looking up top where she has Coleman now going through the lane after she had started on the left block, went to the right block. Bennett was able to get the catch, but then tried to kick it back out to Griffey and trying to then find a handle for it. Eventually was squirting out of bounds, and it will remain Arizona basketball, but the Cats trying to establish a dominant presence inside as the tallest player for the Bulldogs, listed at 6 feet. Probably not quite so much, but they were trying so hard to get it in there. They couldn't necessarily get a good shot up there. Instead, they're having to inbound it into the back court. Griffey goes all the way to the foul line, can't knock it down, and here come the Bulldogs with Huntsman turning on the Jets, and took 30 free throws yesterday, and no, they're not going to start it off that way, but with 9 minutes and 20 seconds to go, an unfortunate beginning for the Wildcats, who have spent a lot of time watching their opponents shoot free throws. The ball's inbounded to Parker, gives it right back to Huntsman, now coming off the baseline to Hill. Fired into the right block with a nice easy touch and look there. Alicia Quinn is the fifth starter. Finally got that one. And she puts it off the glass and scores it to give the Bulldogs a 2-0 lead. This Gardner Webb team beat North Carolina to start the season as there's a skip pass against the 2-3 zone. Bennett comes to the right side, finds Griffey. Now it's reversed back to Bennett to the short corner on the baseline's left side where Coleman lost the basketball. It's into Huntsman's hands. Along the far sideline she goes and then puts on the brakes outside the right wing. Dump it off inside. High post. Hill trying to back down. Griffey goes up, puts it up against the bottom of the backboard, and it's eventually tipped out, taken by Cannon. Back come the Wildcats, trailing 2-0, 8:37 to go. She steps inside the foul line, puts up an air ball. Rebound is tracked down and had by Huntsman, but she's on the end line. Wildcats pick up a break and will maintain possession. Arizona got a pretty good look after about 29 and a half seconds on the first possession with Griffey shooting up a mid-range jumper. That time it looked like he had a pretty good look also, but it just came up about a foot short. Now she's able to find a little bit of space on the baseline, but her shot's blocked from behind by Quinn. Outlet pass along the right sideline, now stopping and popping from 18 away. Brown puts it off the front lip, and it's rebounded by Bennett. Arizona's 0 for 3 to start the ball game. And the Wildcats, with 8 minutes and 15 seconds to go, trail 2-0. James now from the left elbow goes back outside Griffey. She's got Cannon on her right, and said she angles to the left around a James screen. Now comes to the right wing, and Cannon. Keandra Cannon now goes back to the left. Griffey thought about a three. Instead, she holds on to it, goes to the foul line where James is open, but puts it up wide to the right. Rebound pulled down by the Bulldogs. Weaving her way up the middle of the floor is Brown, where she has to again tap the brakes because of a double team. Find Huntsman. 2-0, Gardner Webb in the lead. Start the offense to the right sideline, and Hill coming back toward the left. Brown puts it down with the right hand, gets to the right side of the lane before going in front of Arizona's bench. Right back over there to Hill. Hill now trying to use a screen, and she's able to weave through traffic and get it off the glass to score it. Alexis Hill anxious to find her own shot, and Coach Butts has to call a timeout as the Wildcats having struggles against the zone on the offensive side and are struggling against some dribble penetration as the Cats might still be reliving nightmares from trying to keep Atwater out of the lane with the dribble. Yeah, having both Alexis Hill and Candace Brown going on the attack, to say nothing yet of Tiara Huntsman, and she went on the opening possession all the way to the baseline and couldn't find any space to operate. The Cats just cannot keep the dribblers out of the paint, and it's creating some lanes as they got to keep track of all of them. It have led to this 4-0 deficit here in the early going. Tough to say what Coach Butts might be most frustrated by. She has at this point, watch your team lift off 3 shots that have not necessarily been that well contested at the free throw line. Might have been a little bit early in the shot clock, but generally she is quick to tell us that the shots from 15 feet and in are such that she dubs good. And not knocking them down might be a little bit of a moment of pause as the Cats right now trailing 4-0, but it gives us a chance to tell you and remind you that the Nia Butts Show is coming back on January 12th. It can be heard broadcasted from the cellar located on the lower level of the Student Union Memorial Center. It's going to air at 6 o'clock every Tuesday. It will actually begin January 5th. You can hear it on 1400 KTUC as it will be aired from McHale because the campus will not yet be opened back up after the winter break. So 6 o'clock on Tuesday is coming up. The Nia Butts Show is the Wildcats after the timeout. Again, trying to force it into the interior, but it's tipped and stolen and controlled by Alexis Hill. 4-0, Gardner Webb leads as there's a wide open three-pointer that's bypassed by Brown. Instead, she angles to the right side of the key. Huntsman comes off the baseline. Now she has it on the exterior. She backs away to reset. Going to the right side, gets by Cannon, puts that one up, but it's blocked and deflected by Bennett. And there with the rebound is James. The Wildcats get the stop. Now looking for their first points as Arizona is 0 for 3 with 2 turnovers here 3 minutes into the ballgame. Cannon stops near the left elbow, now goes back outside Coleman. She was 5 for 5 yesterday, and she directs traffic, comes over and hands it off to Griffey, whose 3-pointer's off the back iron, but there's Julia Bennett on the weak side with the rebound. The Wildcats have their first 2 and are trailing 2 with 6:35 to go in the first quarter. Huntsman, a little bit of bait and switch there with the acceleration before she hands off to Hill in front of the Wildcat bench. That 15-footer is too strong, and it's rebounded by Griffey. Outlet pass now along the left side of the floor is Bennett again going on the attack, but this time puts it up too strong. Rebound pulled down by Quinn. Arizona not back defensively as a couple of Bulldogs leak through, but Parker now is contending with 2 Wildcats as she goes right through the lane, is able to score that one off the window and answer Arizona's bucket with 1 for the Bulldogs, and it's 6-2. Gardner Webb leads. Getting close to 6 minutes even as Bennett goes to the left block, and James trying to turn, but she loses the handle, is poked away, stolen as Huntsman has the loose ball. Behind the back to control, she hands off on the left side line to Brown, back up top, where Parker looks for a cutting Quinn, but a nice recovery there by Bennett, has the block underneath. Loose ball rolls to Griffey as Wildcats trail 6-2. This has been the largest deficit that they have faced here in the first quarter, but Griffey has something to say about that as she steps back and knocks down a 3-pointer on the left wing. 6-5, Gardner Webb already into the front court. Crossing over and heading to the left comes Brown. Kick it back to the trailing Quinn before she hands off to the still trailing Parker, who's got an answer. 9-5, right back to a 4-point deficit. 5:18 to go. Julia Bennett on the near sideline goes to the left, and Cannon with her left hand, she angles toward the Gardner Webb bench. Quick touch to Griffey, who goes to the foul line, and James, who again has the ball stripped away. There are 5 Wildcats waiting to get in as Coach Butts is really unhappy with the starting unit's play. Now, after using her dribble, Parker goes back out, and on the move goes Brown. No, excuse me, that's Hill. She's able to knock that in. And the Wildcats now face their largest deficit here at 11-5. 4:48 to go in the first quarter. Gardner Webb, undaunted, playing a Power 5 conference. The Wildcats working it around against the 2-3 zone. Get it to James, baseline left. Now back outside to the top of the key. Griffey, another quick toss now. Coleman as she goes on the attack against the zone, but had her shot swatted away. Loose ball picked up by Hill. As Gardner Webb now trying to extend a 6-point lead. 4:25 remaining here in the first quarter. Angle left, the action starts with Brown bouncing it inside as Parker goes up and underneath, can't get the finish. The ball's fought for and eventually claimed by Griffey. James and Brown really trying to get that one. Instead it rolls out to Taryn Griffey as she's got to pull up this time 15 feet away and knocks that down. Taryn has the last 5 points for the Wildcats as Arizona trails 11-7 with 4 minutes and 5 seconds remaining here in the initial. And Coach Butts really, really frustrated with her team's players. You can probably hear her hollering instruction. Griffey allows Huntsman to get by her, and now we got a carrying violation. With 3 minutes and 57 seconds to go, Huntsman was able to get by one and all. Whoops, I beg your pardon. I thought that the initial timeout was signaled to be 30-second and that we would have a break after 5 minutes, but I was incorrect. And the game continues on as Bell, Evans, Graham LaBrittany Jones and Melina Washington in there. Destiny Graham going on the attack, but has her shot blocked out of bounds. 3:46 to go. The Wildcats down 4. Leading scorer has gone to the bench as Jones has the entry pass, short hopping her, and now a timeout taken to save the possession after the steal. Gardner Webb knocks away the inbound pass. And we'll step away here with the Wildcats trailing 11-7, 3:42 to go in the first quarter on Arizona IMG Sports. Well, a much different ball club comes out of the timeout as the Wildcats have forced now 3 seconds onto the shot clock as Huntsman puts up a three-pointer that's not good short, but an offensive rebound goes back up. It's not good. Couldn't see who put that one away, or nearly, I should say, as the Cats eventually have the rebound tipped out to Bell. Forced 30 seconds off of the clock there as Washington uses a screen from Jones. Now she goes on the attack. Now bounces it through the lane where Bell was open but lost the handle. It was stripped away from her, I think, by Alexis Hill. The Cats a little bit more fluid there offensively, much more aggressive defensively, but still trailing 11-7 now, less than 3 minutes to go in the first quarter. Bell bounces it to Washington in front of the Gardner Webb bench. She hesitates, then shoots up a three-pointer that's very short. Rebound pulled down by Hill. She's going 1-on-3, now hits the deck. She lost her footing near the right block, but the loose ball rolls right to Anisha Williams. Kick it back out and maintain the possession with Huntsman now resetting the offense near midcourt, leading by 4 are the Gardner Webb Bulldogs. Is coming from the right side, catching it on the angle left is Alexis Hill. Now with her right hand, she gets to the foul line, tries to bounce it inside, looking initially for Parker, but it was tipped away before it got to her, and stolen. Evans now in control for the Wildcats as she goes to the left. Washington to the left, blocking Jones, who can't finish, but she's hit and fouled. Yesterday, Arizona frustrated with the relative lack of free throws that were taken. 13 in a loss to Florida Gulf Coast. The objective from every Coach Butt's team is getting to the line 20 times. Haven't been able to do so of late. As Jones makes good on the first. Perhaps even more frustrating when they are getting to the free throw line here in the early part of the season. The Wildcats have been struggling knocking down the free throws in particular in the first half. So seeing that one come down after watching Gardner Webb race out to a 6-point lead, Arizona very happy that LBJ was able to make the first and rim the second one in to make it now 11-9. The Wildcats have scored the last 4 points, but there's 2:20 to go, and now extending the defensive pressure. End-line to end-line as that one is airmailed, eventually claimed by LaBrittany Jones. Turning it over, Williams, as the Cats with a chance to tie or take the lead. Washington already demonstrating a willingness to shoot the three-pointer, but after she hesitated on the outside, she tried to chip her way into the interior and was called for carrying the basketball. Cats turn it over now for the 5th time. 2:07 to go in the first quarter, and Arizona trying to force another turnover, doing so by taking it away from Huntsman. Bell bounces it off to Washington, and she's able to get it off the glass and tie it up at 11. Gardner Webb now has given up 6 straight, but they're gambling on an interception. Instead, it's controlled by Curry. Go back out to Huntsman. The Bulldogs trying to recover against a much more aggressive Arizona defense. Washington gets away with the bump, but now they're going to call Farron Bell on the reach. As Molina was really trying to overplay that pass, and as she was disrupting the reception, Farron Bell thought perhaps she could reach in there and knock it away, but 'twas not so. And it'll be the second team foul on Arizona, just the first on Bell. Side out, inbounding. Brown is able to find Huntsman. She's picked up by Evans. Evans takes a jab in there, makes Huntsman think about it. She pounds the rock, now angles to the right side of the floor, turns the corner outside the painted area, and there's a reach in and a knock away there by Evans as it's knocked over to Bell, and the Wildcats force another turnover and now can take a lead. Evans, baseline left, comes back out about 17 feet away, where Brittany Jones doesn't hesitate before lifting up. Can't hit that one off the back iron. The rebound is pulled down by Huntsman. Back come Gardner Webb trying to snap a 6-0 scoring streak by the Wildcats. Far corner, controlled by Brown, puts the ball down, backing down, lifting off, puts it up the front lip, and it rolls in. So that does answer the 6-0 run from the Wildcats. Now Arizona looking to respond, trailing 13-11. A minute 2 to go. Destiny Graham without hesitation off the right block. Steps through, can't get the finish, but the rebound is knocked out to Washington. The shot clock does not reset. Less than a minute to go. Jones is in the middle of the zone. That time from 12 away, she's good. Ball caroms off of Huntsman's legs, so she's able to get it right back. And into the front court comes Abadayo. Now to the left block. Parker backing down with Brittany Jones as she puts her right arm up, but the contact has her following through, and that's an easy whistle. As Parker will go to the free throw line for 2 with the ball game tied at 13. That's the first on the Brittany Jones, just the third on the Wildcats. Just 38 seconds to go here in the first quarter as Parker, who yesterday was 11 for 12, has the first one rim out. 73% shooter on the season. And already here, the team that shot 30 free throws has been to the line a couple times as the second one goes down. And here come the Wildcats with 7 seconds separating the shot and game clock. Bell bounces it off to Evans in front of the Gardner Webb bench. Now she picks up her dribble, wanting to go inside. Instead she has to reset with Washington near midcourt. Back off to Lauren Evans. She fakes a pass to the baseline. Back up top now Washington comes to the right side. Bell. Washington runs through, but instead they go to Evans off on the left. Now running the baseline, set up in the corner. There's Washington's three-pointer to try to use the glass, but it's caroming and not good. 1 point lead in 10 seconds and a chance to hold for the final shot is Gardner Webb as Candace Brown tries to find Huntsman, who is being disrupted again by Evans. She loses her footing and is called for traveling. 6 seconds remaining. The Wildcats can claim their first lead after what has been a rocky first quarter. Graham hands it off to Bell. Huntsman rushed in there and forced her to get the catch. Just 2 seconds to go as Washington puts up a three-pointer that goes in as the buzzer sounds. Oh my goodness. It was adventurous from the onset, but Melina Washington's three falls and the Wildcats finished the first 10 minutes with their first lead, 16-14. We'll have more for you right after this here on Arizona IMG Sports. To start the second quarter, again going to the bench. Keandra Cannon back in there as well as Mikkel Miller. The Wildcats shooting just 31% but been able to get some second chance points. Gardner Webb shooting a little bit better, 43%. Correction, it's a points off turnover that's making the difference for the Wildcats as it skipped off to the right side. Alexis Hill trying to get a little bit of space around Washington. Goes back to the screening Parker. She's also on that right sideline. 7 seconds for the Bulldogs to shoot as it goes into Adebayo's hands. Her 15-footer is not good. Miller's able to get the rebound for the Wildcats. Here comes Arizona leading 16-14 on its first possession here in the second quarter. Around a LaBrittany Jones screen to get to the left elbow. Jones has it at the baseline. Back out to Miller. Now another opportunity with Washington setting up the half-court offense. High post left side. Jones turns, faces up, ball fake. Now making her way into the lane where she loses the handle. Stolen away, taken by Hill. Long outlet pass is received nearly, I should say, as Parker couldn't get a handle on that one, and it bounces out of bounds. Another turnover here in the ball game as Gardner Webb has 7. The Wildcats have 6 after a couple of early giveaways in the second quarter. Arizona, though, not as harmed as the Cats lead 16-14. 1 minute into the second as Cannon comes to Miller, wanting to go inside to Jones. She puts the ball down, now bounces it off into the near corner, and Washington, who's double teamed, she spins toward the end line, gets it down to Jones as she kicks it back out. Cannon tries to go on the attack, instead kicks it out to Miller, nearly loses that one. 9 seconds to shoot as it goes to Graham, now 15 feet away, short corner left side, knock it down. The Wildcats have their largest lead, 18-14, 8:38 to play here in the half. Huntsman, shadowed by Cannon as she crosses the time stripe, heading to the outside left. Got a player in either corner. She goes back to the right side, eventually gives it away to Brown. Puts the ball down, can't shake Miller, so she goes to Parker about 17 feet away, and she knocks that in there. All of her game at this point had been directly underneath the hoop, but she was good on that one, and now the Wildcats a little bit over anxious as Washington tried to hurry a pass into the interior and beat the zone down, but LaBrittany Jones was not yet camped out. So it'll be the 7th Wildcat turnover, and Arizona back to defend. Just a 2-point lead now. Brought Lauren Evans in, removed Mikkel Miller. Farron Bell is also out there, but Mikkel Miller was not supposed to leave the floor. So now ball fake and going on the attack here at Curry. Hands off to Lexis Hill as she goes in with an 18-foot jumper that's good right over Melina Washington, and it ties it up at 18. Lots of narrow runs here have marked the Puerto Rico games, and after a 6-0 run gives the Wildcats a 4-point lead. Here's 4 straight from Gardner Webb, and back into the 2-3 zone with the Wildcats trying to find a little bit of space to get it inside. Hill, correction, that's Evans going side to side in the paint. Instead it's bounced on the exterior where Washington shoots up another 3-pointer. That time it's again off the glass. A 2-on-1 opportunity with Hill going straight away into Washington, and eventually Molina reaches in and commits the foul. She had an open layup running on her right side. I want to say it was Candace Brown, but instead she called her own number, went on the attack, and Hill, who is in there right now, having scored just 10 points in the first 2 ball games here at Puerto Rico, knocks down the first free throw, and has already half of those here in the third and final game. There's some more players shuttling in and out. Tasia Stanford, LaBrittany Jones is pulled for the Wildcats and replaced by Coleman. Second free throw is short. The rebound is loose and eventually taken by Cannon. Trying to beat it again, the zone up the floor, but couldn't get it into Farron Bell's hands, so they're going to kick it back out. Now Miller's going to start the offense with the 2-3 zone established. Miller in front of the Gardner Webb bench, goes back between the rings to Cannon. Now on the right side, Bell wants to go into the high post, and Evans instead it's back over to Miller. She puts the ball down, goes down that left lane line and scores that one with a scooping shot that had all sorts of funky English on it. 7 minutes to go, and the Wildcats back in front after 5 straight points from Gardner Webb. Reversing her field, Stanford comes over and hands off to Hill. Hill comes back, angle left now. Candace Brown wanting to go inside, trying to use a screen applied by Parker. Instead, she's got to get it back outside to Parker with 9 seconds on the shot clock. She puts the ball down once, goes in front of the Arizona bench to Hill. Back over to Parker. Now an offensive foul is called as Parker was clearing out with an arm, trying to establish position for that reception. That now 8 turnovers for Gardner Webb. Arizona with 7 of its own. Wildcats lead 20-19. That's the first personal on Olivia Parker and the first team foul here in the second quarter on the Bulldogs. Griffey back in as the point guard. Comes to the right side of Miller. Around a Coleman screen. She steps in from about 17 away. McKell's got that down. 22-19. The Wildcats are up. Miller going hip to hip with Stanford, forcing her to hit the brakes in front of the Wildcat bench. Cannon on the near side loses her footing, but still the action goes away as Stanford tried to go right at Evans, who came in underneath to help out. The shot was short. The rebound is from Coleman to Griffey. Got the hot hand in Mikkel Miller, who's angling away. Instead, Griffey calls her own number and knocks it down from 18. Wildcats have their largest lead as Arizona's up 24-19. 5:50 to go in the half. Is spinning away from a defender. Stanford this time comes to the near side of the floor. Back off to the right. As chipping her way to the foul line is Brown, trying to kick it back out, but the ball is stolen away by Evans. Still loose. She eventually is able to get it. Now go over to Griffin in the corner on the left. Skip it to the near side as Cannon hands off Miller. Puts the ball down, but not before she took a step. Eight turnovers for the Wildcats, but Arizona leading 5. And will extend the defense. Well, they're just going to man up. Put Evans on the ball, try to get it to Huntsman, who is benefiting when Cannon again nearly loses her footing. The second time in 3 possessions that Key nearly fell down as Huntsman now uses a screen, come to the near side. Hill's open for a three-pointer that's very, very short. The rebound is tipped and out of bounds to Gardner Webb. Now they're going to have a conversation. Alexis Hill thought it was out of bounds to Arizona. And they're going to reverse. Wildcats get the defensive stop, try to extend their largest advantage at 24-19, 5 minutes and 13 seconds to go in this second quarter. Taryn Griffey, who has 7 points, starts the offense to Miller, who's been hot of late. 2 of the last 3 buckets from the Wildcats have come from Miller. She nearly throws that one away, but she's able to get it back and then instead to travel. Arizona was hoping that perhaps she might have been reached in upon, but no such luck. As the play stopped at 5 minutes, and we're going to go ahead and call it a timeout. 24-19, the Cats lead as you listen on Arizona IMG Sports. I don't think this is right. With great offensive minutes. The 3 of them have done the most here to stake Arizona to this 24-19 lead, but as is usually the case, Cats getting it done on the defensive end for the most part here since those opening few minutes had the Bulldogs shooting so well. Alexis Hill with her 5 points now comes to the angle left side, Lovely Locklear for the first time, trying to get to work at the middle of the floor. Skip it back to the left side, but reading that one and taking it away is Cannon as she goes to the rim. Can't get the finish, but there's Griffey with the follow. That's no good. There's Miller trying to go back up. It's too strong. The rebound's tipped out of bounds to Arizona. An awful lot of contact being allowed there. This is Gardner Webb defending the bucket. And Huntsman will be pulled for the Bulldogs. Stanford checking back in. Tasia Stanford, a 5'5" freshman from Bear, Delaware. The ball is inbounded to Coleman. The Wildcats with another shot clock as Arizona leads 24-19. 4 minutes and 20 seconds to play in the half as Miller comes off the baseline. Was open for a moment on the angle left side. Instead goes to the center of the floor and back off to that left wing where Griffey thought about a three like Miller had, but instead of a retreat and asked for a Coleman screen to come and send her to the free throw line where she rattles it in from about 16, and it's a 26-19 lead. Arizona extending its largest advantage, 4 minutes even to play. Stanford unopposed as she trots it over the time stripe, now picked up by Cannon about 25 feet from the bucket. Angling now right to left, she hands off to Hill. Puts the ball on her hip and now puts it down as there's a switch, and she's picked up by Evans. Tries to cross over. Instead feeds Curry, whose three-pointers off the back rim. Rebound taken away by, that was Locklear who knocked it away from Miller, but it's out of bounds, and the Cats will maintain possession as LaBrittany Jones going to come back in. Lauren Evans is removed. So the Cats with Jones, Griffey, Cannon, Miller, and Coleman. And in the 2-3 zone up top, Locklear and Stanford. And along the perimeter, Curry, Parker, and on the near side is Hill. As the Cats going around the perimeter. Along the baseline now, Jones runs. Now kick it back out up top, Cannon. Quick pass to the left side, Griffey, but Gardner Webb is there defending. 10 seconds to shoot as this to the right side, Miller. To the short corner right side, Jones. Kick it back out to Cannon. Now extra pass into the corner left where Griffey's three-pointer is too strong, but there's Coleman with offensive rebound. Though her putback is blocked. Loose ball taken away by Locklear. Here come the Bulldogs hurrying to the left where Locklear has Cannon slide in front of her, so she goes to the middle of the floor, find Hill, and on the attack comes Stanford from the angle left side. Drop it off where Parker was eventually, well, I don't know what it was called. I thought that they were going to say Parker was fouled, but it's Arizona's ball. Maybe a 3-second violation? But I really don't know. So 2:50 to go. 7-point Arizona lead as Coleman goes to Cannon. Again, a quick pass into the corner where Griffey's open for three. That time it's short off the front rim. Rebounded by Hill as she is forced to change direction because of Griffey. Now she hits the Jets. Goes to the left block with Parker. Puts it up too strong, but she was bumped and fouled. 3 Wildcats were out in the back court defending Alexis Hill. And a real headsy play by her to hit the afterburner. And once she got by those 3, Arizona's defense was out of position, and it's the first personal on Ashanti Coleman. And Parker knocks down that first free throw. Yesterday when she had 27, she was at the foul line 12 times. Knocked down 11 of those. As Curry and Locklear removed for the Bulldogs. Back in is Candace Brown and one other. Miller, who gave the Wildcats some good minutes, has been pulled. Washington back out there. The other player who just came in is Anisha Williams for Gardner Webb as both free throws go down. 2.5 minutes to play in the first half. And the Wildcats' 7-point lead is trimmed by 2. Griffey to the right block, and Jones going right at Parker. Can't get that one to fall. James also in there, nearly had the offensive rebound, but it's controlled by Parker. And off into the hands of Brown as she is going to slowly bring it into the front court. Try to force it off into Stanford's hands. Gets it to her on the left sideline. Williams offering a screen, sends her to the right, goes to the corner in front of the Arizona bench. Brown, though, going to use her left hand to come back to the left elbow. Shoot it from 15. It's not good. Washington has the rebound. Nearly taken away from her, though she's going to shoot up the middle of the floor. Flying Griffey running on the right. Score it with a right hand, and the Cats lead is again 7. Cannon in the backcourt making life hard on Stanford as Arizona leads 28-21. Minute 42 to play here in this first half where the Wildcats had to make a little bit of a comeback, but have been in control throughout the second quarters. There's a big block after making her way down the right lane line. Williams has her shot thrown out of bounds by LaBrittany Jones. Still an awful lot of time on the Bulldogs shot clock. Huntsman just came back in for Gardner Webb. She is on the baseline's right. Handed off to the corner and Brown. Again, using a Parker screen. She gets into the painted area, shoots it up from 12. It's not good. The rebound is tipped and eventually claimed by Parker, though she's out of bounds with a timeout. Apparently timeout. Coach Butts is having a conversation with one of the referees. They're smiling. That's a good sign. Many of the conversations she's had with the officials this weekend have not ended in laughter or good feelings. Have you signed up for Arizona Text for Ticks yet? You can buy tickets with just a simple text message from your mobile phone. Take advantage of this easy and convenient way to buy basketball tickets. Sign up for Arizona Text for Ticks tonight by logging on to ArizonaWildcats.com/text-for-ticks or text CATS to 20123. Arizona coming back home December 29th when the Wildcats will play George Mason. The ball game will begin at 2 o'clock. Our broadcast will air at 1:45 p.m. As after the timeout, new shot clock. Ball is inbounded to Huntsman. A minute 20 to play until halftime. Arizona leading 28-21. Huntsman pounding the rock on the left wing. Able to throw it inside to Williams as she's surrounded by Wildcats. Kick it back out to Parker. Thought about a three. Instead she goes again to the left wing. Huntsman drop it off for Williams. And another 3-second violation. Williams was entrenched. I think that it's the second time that she has been whistled for such. As the Cats now looking to extend their largest lead up over 7. James at the top of the key goes to the left sideline, and Griffey trying to go to Jones, who was wanting to find a cutting James. Instead, it was knocked and stolen away. Arizona very generous with the basketball again here in the first half as Huntsman trying to shake Melina Washington. Uses her right hand to go up the right side of the floor and then eventually is hip checked and knocked down. And she will go to the line to shoot 2. Destiny Graham hops off of the bench. As Huntsman's first free throw is not good. Jones will be pulled in favor of Graham. And Huntsman with another free throw coming. That one also too strong. The rebound is knocked away and out of bounds to the Wildcats. Whoa, I didn't think there was any question about that. Arizona still holding on to that 7-point lead. 42 seconds to go. An opportunity for a quick 2-for-1 as Washington thought about it. Instead, the double team are going to encourage her to come back to the middle of the floor. Cannon has it on the right side. Couldn't find Griffey as she was hopping around on the baseline. Eventually gets it to her in the corner. Tried this shot twice before, but this is the third time, providing the charm as she knocks it down, and the Cats have the game's first double-digit lead, 31-21. 20 seconds to go. Shot clock is off as Huntsman goes behind the back in the backcourt. Eventually has to do so again to shake Cannon. Now just 10 seconds to shoot as she's retreating toward the midcourt line. Pounding the rock with Key in her face. Coming up to offer a screen. She goes around Jenkins. Not going to stop and pull up a three-pointer that goes down. And I have to look. That is the second three-pointer that Gardner Webb was able to get. And that big one there was going to have them going into the locker room trailing 10. And the way that the Wildcats controlled the second quarter, it was going to feel a lot bigger than that. There's a couple of conversations going on with different officials. Coach LaBeouf, I'm not sure what he was arguing. Coach Butts now also, the last one off the floor, has spoken with not two of the referees, but again, they're leaving on good terms, which again is not something that we've been able to say an awful lot this weekend, but not sure what they were disputing. In any event, a 31-24 advantage for the Cats after the first half. We'll tell you some more right after this here on Arizona IMG Sports.
Rico. Esta bomba yo la dedico a toda mi gente de Puerto Rico, a la familia Fontanet, allá en Cupe Alto y Lo Mejía en Vega Baja. ¡Que gocen! ¡Sí!
Bomba, bomba, para siempre.
Bomba, bomba está presente, aquí lo canta mi gente.
Bomba, bomba, para siempre.
Baila, baila y goza, mi bomba puertorriqueña.
Bomba, bomba. Bomba, bomba. Bomba, bomba.
Wildcats getting ready to start the final 20 minutes of the Puerto Rico Classic, wrapping it up against Gardner Webb with Arizona leading 31-24. Gardner Webb will begin with the basketball, moving to the right side. Bulldogs being led by Olivia Parker's 10 points. Also got 7 from Alexis Hill. Taryn Griffey leading it for all scorers with 14. Melina Washington has 5, as well as Mikkel Miller with 4 for the Cats. As they're going from the left side, coming back to the right. Huntsman has the catch, now feeding Hill. Hill, who got hot there at the beginning of the ball game, but it was Olivia Parker who really took the scoring load for the Bulldogs. Oh boy. Well, a foul is called on Cannon. Yeah, I thought if anybody was guilty of something, it might have been Coleman, but the officiating has been hard to figure out here this weekend as the first one from Hill goes up and in. And a really big start to the half here for Gardner Webb, because remember that three-pointer from Huntsman took what was a 10-point lead, and after those free throws combined with the three-pointer, it's now just a 5-point advantage, and the Wildcats trying to get their lead back here with 9 minutes and 30 seconds to go on their first possession in the third quarter. Coleman, an offensive foul is called on Taysha James as she did not even look like there's anybody nearby her. I don't know whom she may have offended. There's been more peculiar offensive fouls this weekend than I have seen in a month. But now Huntsman with a chance to really get a run going as the Bulldogs have scored the last 5, nearly thrown away, but controlled by Williams. Hill, who had nearly thrown away, is going to come back to the near sideline and reclaim possession as Coleman goes right by her, and that looked like it was a pretty clean block, but instead a foul is called on Ashanti Coleman, and this has never happened, and not in this weekend or this season, but here 1 minute in, and 3 fouls are called against the Wildcats as a team that shot 30 free throws yesterday is getting ready to spend an awful lot of time shooting free throws again. Let's just hope that it evens up on the other end of the floor, though, as the Wildcats have seen a 10-point lead get taken down to 4. All alone on the left, Cannon steps into a 15-footer but puts it too strong off the back iron. The rebound's tipped out, taken by Coleman. Arizona with another opportunity as the ball goes to Evans in front of the Wildcat bench. She puts it down twice, then finds Coleman on the right block, though. She sends it up to, it looked like it was going to be a little bit too strong, but eventually fell. Arizona answers 6 straight points with a great possession. They're using an offensive rebound to get 2 for Coleman. The Cats lead 33-27, 8:40 to go. Huntsman uses a Williams screen to get to the top of the key, lifts a three-pointer up over Coleman. It's off the front lip, tipped around, eventually taken by Parker as she kicks it back out to Hill. Close out there by Griffey is going to encourage her to run the set through once or twice as Huntsman comes off the sideline, but instead here's a little two-player game with Hill and Parker using the screen, then flips it up around the left block. No good, and the rebound is tipped out of bounds for the Wildcats. So Arizona gets a crucial stop after a three-pointer and some whistles. Eventually have what was a 10-point lead trimmed to 4. They say now Ashanti has 2 fouls. That's just a correction. As Jones puts the ball down once, kind of trapped in no man's land, is able to get it out to Cannon. Now off to reset with Griffey in the center circle. Deja James comes to ready a screen as Griffey approaches. Now goes to the left, but she's double-teamed, again having to retreat. Bounce it to the right sideline where Evans is able to get a little bit of space, elevate, shoot it up from 15 near the elbow. It's not good. And trying to get the loose ball. Another foul is called on the Wildcats. That's 4. 4 fouls in the first 2 minutes and 10 seconds on Arizona. No fouls against Gardner Webb. And that is 2 now in the first 2 minutes and 10 seconds on Deja James. And the Wildcats, though, still leading 33-27. Here comes Huntsman, and she loses her footing. And they're in the bonus. Cannon was called for having blocked a Huntsman player who is losing her footing and falling over. So now for the next 7 minutes and 37 seconds, Gardner Webb is going to be shooting free throws and still has not been whistled for a foul. You hear Coach Butt saying she slipped and fell. The official, of course, has an explanation. You can't talk to crazy, though. So here's another free throw up and in. 33-29, 7:35 to go. Wildcats lead. There's a reach in, no whistle. It's stolen away from Cannon. Don't touch her. She goes to the rim. Does Huntsman. It's not good. Jones tips the rebound, eventually able to claim that one. And hey, a foul on Gardner Webb. First whistle against the Bulldogs gives the Wildcats possession after the turnover. 33-29, the Cats still lead as that's the second on Alexis Hill. 7:20 to go in the third quarter. You're just tuning in after the break. Bulldogs are in the bonus just 3 minutes in. Not even. As there's a turnover nearly thrown away, though Evans is able to nicely scoop it back in place behind Cannon. 12 seconds for the Wildcats to shoot as Griffey stops. Nearly loses her footing. She's double teamed now, is able to get it near the foul line. It's tipped around, finally taken by Jones. 4 seconds to shoot as she lifts off. No good there, but there's James with an offensive rebound, and she's pushed from behind. And that might be on Alexis Hill. It is. It's her third. So Deja James now will shoot two. Wildcats took 2 free throws in the first half. Gardner Webb already doubled that one in the first 2.5 minutes here in the third quarter. And Hill has to remove herself after picking up 2 fouls in about a minute. First free throw is good from James. Now Destiny Graham wants to come in. Melina Washington is granted entrance. She's replacing Griffey. Graham going to come in for the shooting. James Farron Bell also now late to the scorer's table. She comes in to replace Evans. Deja with the second one ready to go up. And it's off the back rim. Rebound loose. Still loose as there's 3 players on the ground, and a tie-up situation will have the possession arrow favoring Arizona. Gardner Webb, which started the year beating North Carolina, played Southern Methodist, which just took Mississippi State down to the wire. Now coming back strong after the Cats had a 10-point lead, but there's an inbound play to Cannon. She's been able to do that now with regularity the last 2 ball games. Gets that one in. It turns into a 3-point trip down the floor, but here's Huntsman splitting 2 defenders going off to the left sideline where Brown traveled. And the foul is called on the Wildcats. That is now 6 personal fouls whistled against Arizona in the first. Wow, there's still 6:36 left in the third quarter. Oh, man. Stranger than fiction. I guess it can't be that strange because it consistently happens. Ever since the North Texas game, the Wildcats have at least 1 quarter in a ball game where the officials are just like, no, stop it. That's a foul too. Stop everything. 1 of 2 free throws goes down. It's 36-30. The Cats still somehow with the lead. Another whistle. A 3-second violation. Turns it over. I don't know what Coach Butt said to the referees. We saw him talking to all 3 of them before she went into the locker room, but it must have been bad. As the ball is inbounded to Huntsman. She's double-teamed near the Arizona bench. Gets it right back to Williams, and she's cut up by Cannon. Nearly loses the basketball away from Jones. Able to get it nearly away again as Washington makes some contact, and you can't do that if you're wearing a red uniform because they will call that and everything. So back to the free throw line goes Gardner Webb. And again, if you're just tuning in, Gardner Webb has been in the bonus since just under 8 minutes. Meanwhile, the Bulldogs have been called twice for fouls. The first free throw is up and in. Candace Brown at the line to shoot another, and that one's also good. So the 10-point lead is back down to 4. As here come the Wildcats trying to respond. Now that was a foul just a moment ago, and a late whistle will confirm that it remains so on this end as Washington was pushed from behind. So that's the third whistle. It's still not even the first time out here in the third quarter. There has been 10 as Bell has a hard time with a short hop, winds up kicking the ball away, and it's eventually picked up by Huntsman. Huntsman into the interior, kick it back out to Brown. With the left hand, she goes to the middle of the floor. Parker is going to skip it off to Curry in front of the Gardner Webb bench. Now Huntsman has it. An awful lot of activity here, but still well away from the basket as Huntsman on the left sideline inching her way forward. Eventually has Williams come up and offer a screen. And a foul is called as Cannon looked like she was run into. The screener never really stopped. It's just so interesting that one side can get nickel and dimed like this and the other side can do, that. But hey, here we go. Still more free throws from Gardner Webb as the Wildcats have been called for 8 fouls in the first 4 minutes and 10 seconds. Both free throws go down. That's 8 fouls on Arizona. 5:47 to go here in the third quarter. Washington splits 2 defenders, gets into the painted area, puts it up and bounces around and eventually falls to get it back out to a 4-point game. 38-34. The Cats lead with Huntsman trying to avoid a double team. She traveled. And there was nobody nearby, so they could not find a way to get that to be the 9th foul. Just imagine if this were last year. And there's still 15:30 to go. And the Cats were 2 fouls away from the double bonus. I mean, I don't know which is more strange. With 5:20 to go and the Wildcats leading 4 as Cannon has the ball poked away and eventually stolen away. Wildcats turn it over as Cannon's defending Brown. Mikkel Miller comes off of the bench as Brown goes away from a screen, stops near the elbow, shoots it up, too short, rebound taken by Farron Bell as she is going in and out of traffic and eventually is able to angle on the left side of the floor. Find Destiny Graham, who then hands it off to Washington, who comes out the baseline. And there's a whistle on Locklear. Wildcats got an awful lot to consider. As the good news at 4:52 to go, and eventually Gardner Webb has been whistled for half as many fouls as has Arizona. The Cats still lead 38-34 and trying to figure out what to do defensively here on Arizona IMG Sports. This is the strangest basketball season I've ever watched. I mean, give me a break. And apparently the message was not received if they were in fact truthful. 14-6. The Wildcats are out fouling as Washington goes right to the rim. A little bit of contact, no whistle. As the Cats have been already blown for 8 fouls here in this third quarter. There's still more than 4.5 minutes to go as Brown goes around Brittany Jones. Can't get that first one up. The second one and then the third from Williams is good. Arizona cannot make any contact. because it is always being called on this end. Miller now going between the legs with Arizona lead trimmed to just 2 as LaBrittany Jones along the baseline stops. She's being hit, reached in on, able eventually to get it out to Graham. Is now back over to Bell, who loses her footing but is able to force it out to Washington with just 10 seconds on the shot clock. Jones now. A little bit of a reach, and that's been called on the other end. But instead it's a traveling violation on this one. I feel like I sound like I'm obsessing, but it's just, now this will be 4 straight games where it's baffling how one-sided the officiating can be. As there's less than 4 minutes to go, and Arizona now holding on, clinging to a 2-point lead, 38-36. Reversing it now into the corner on the left. Brown trying to direct traffic, 9 seconds to shoot as she goes on the move, puts it off the glass and scores it. 38-38. It was a 10-point lead just 1 second before halftime. But Gardner Webb has responded as Graham goes to the baseline, kick it back out to the corner on the near side where Griffey has an answer, and the Wildcats are back up by 3. 3 minutes and 18 seconds as behind her back goes Huntsman. Back off to the corner. We're trying to answer as Brown. There's nobody home, and as 2 players collide, both going for the basketball, but shouldn't be. It's tough to say how that one should go, but it's a foul on Arizona. Destiny Graham said to have been initiating most of the violence, I presume. So, Huntsman to the line, where Gardner Webb has already attempted 19 after that free throw. No, that can't be right. That's not correct. That's now the 14th free throw taken by Gardner Webb here in the third quarter. The 9th personal whistled against the Wildcats. And Arizona's lead just 41-39. It was a 10-point lead. But here's Miller trying to find a rolling Jones as she goes in. Gets hit, no whistle. The bench erupts into displeasure, but again, that's just not called on that end of the floor as Miller nearly reaches in. Got to be careful there. That could have been the 10th whistle against the Wildcats, but 2:44 to go, third quarter, and the Wildcats defending a 2-point lead. Around a screen goes Stanford as she puts it up too short. Rebound taken by Miller. The Wildcats have numbers as Miller bounces it to Washington. To the rim, she scores that one off the glass. 43-39, 2:27 to play. As Stanford, again, gets around a gambling Miller, now trying to accelerate around Jones. Can't get it there, so now Griffey picks her up. Miller outside defending the much bigger Williams. Instead of 3-pointers lifted up as Graham has the rebound knocked away from her. Saved back in play. There's Griffey, who nearly has it poked away. Nearly stolen away by Brown, but it's controlled by Jones. Back out to Miller across the time stripe. The Wildcats with a 4-point lead and in the front court. 2 minutes, 2 seconds to play here in the third, where Arizona put Gardner Webb in the bonus. Less than 3 minutes into the quarter. The shot lifted up, not good, but there's Destiny Graham with an offensive rebound. Now to a wide open Griffey who tries to respond after having that first one, not good. The rebound now is taken away from Graham and controlled by Brown. Wildcats have 2 good looks but can't get it to fall. Now a minute and a half to go, and Brown is bumped on a jump shot and will go to the free throw line for the 15th time in this third quarter. I tell you, that was probably a foul, but how is that a foul on a jump shot when you just saw what happened to LaBrittany Jones a couple of possessions ago? My good heavens. 3-point play is had, as it has been bewildering. That's now the 10th foul in 8.5 minutes called on the Wildcats. Just 4 whistled against Gardner Webb. 43-42 as Griffey goes back out to Jones. Now she accelerates down the right lane line, and hey, what do you know? It does work. She is bumped and fouled, and will go to the line to shoot 2. Gardner Webb has now taken 24 free throws. The Wildcats are set to get their 5th and 6th. As that one's off the back iron. Second one going to be coming up here from the Brittany Jones as the Wildcats had taken control of the ball game in the second quarter, but now holding on to a 2-point lead, 1 minute and 15 seconds to go until the 4th. Along the baseline comes Stanford. She's able to dump it off into the hands of Curry. Now skip it to the left side where Brown is picked up by Miller. Trying to get to the baseline. She lifts off from 10 away. It's not good. Nothing but red underneath to get the rebound. Miller claims. Hand off to Washington. 1 minute to go in the third. And the Wildcats leading 44-42. As Washington gets to the foul line, goes back out to the rolling Jones. She is again on the attack. Has that shot blocked and out of bounds to the Wildcats. But no reward for going on the attack. Also, Alexis Hill has been on the bench for most of this third quarter, one of the better scorers for Gardner Webb. The Cats are going to have to contend with her shortly as Miller goes to the rim. She is bumped and fouled. And it's nice to see some of the small cheese get called on that end. Four-point play with Miller trying to extend the lead, and the Wildcats rarely getting to the foul line just makes the misses all the more glaring as LBJ just came up dry. Miller now trying to convert a three-point play as that one's up and in. He extends it back out to a 5-point game. It's amazing that the Cats have been able to maintain this third quarter without trailing as they're skipping it to the left and over Hill's head and through her hands. Out of bounds with 40 seconds to go. The Cats can try to get this to look similar to what it did before everything went haywire here in the third quarter. Griffey trots it into the front court. Stops, top of the key, now backs away. Goes to Miller in front of the Arizona bench. Thought about a three instead. She gets to the right elbow, then backs away again toward the Wildcat pine. The Brittany Jones now, top of the key. Angle left to Griffey. 12 seconds to shoot. She puts it down once, goes to Graham. Quick feed inside to Jones as she goes around that right shoulder, uses the glass to score it. And it's 49-42, 14 seconds to go. Huntsman is already into the front court. She's going side to side and then back out to the trailing Parker, whose three-pointer is up short. Griffey has the rebound. There's still time. 6 seconds to go. She hurries up the left sideline, all the way to the block, goes up, gets hit hard, gets knocked out of bounds. And the only thing she has to show for it is the opportunity to inbound it. .3 seconds. And the Wildcats inbounding with Griffey on the baseline. Looking initially for Washington, get it to Miller. Quick shoot and can't get that one up. Miller, no, that's Graham who can't get it. Coach Butts, as Graham is pushed to the ground, comes up and starts talking to the official on the baseline that wants to know why that wasn't a foul. It's a great question. Hey, the Wildcats are whistled 10 times, just 5 for Gardner Webb, but still they're able to maintain the lead at 49-42, just as had happened at the beginning of the third quarter. We'll have the fourth for you right after this on Arizona IMG Sports. Wildcat fans for not feeling badly about that, is here's Huntsman, who goes from the right to the left side. Now still along the perimeter. She's pounding the rock, trying to use a screen to get to the middle of the floor. Now looking for a rolling player. Bounce it back outside to Hill. 9 seconds to shoot as she gets into the painted area. Floats it up and in. 49-44. The Wildcats had a 10-point lead at the close of the first half, but that had gone away a couple of times. It was tied up in the third. Here's Cannon on the angle left side, goes to the corner on the left, and then back to the middle of the floor, and Cannon. Gardner Webb into its 2-3 zone as Evans goes to the middle of the floor, and Bell right back to Evans. Ball fake, now puts the ball down, goes to Jones with 7 seconds to shoot. Skip it to the near side, and Cannon thinks about it, shoots up a 3. It's off the front lip. There's Jones with the rebound, back up and in. 1 minute in out of the fourth, and it's still a 7-point ball game. Both sides have been able to draw blood on their initial possessions. The Wildcats needed an offensive board, but still holding on to that 7-point lead. Cannon trying to stay in front of Huntsman, who goes to the corner to the newly entered Morgan Ackerman, but she was not expecting that pass, and it's out of bounds. The Cats force a turnover. Now that is the 15th Gardner Webb turnover. Arizona only able to take it away twice in the third quarter. Meanwhile, the Cats averaging 5 a quarter as far as the turnovers go, but leading 51-44. Cannon to Evans, shoots that one short. There's Graham with a rebound. Another second chance for Arizona as Farron Bell goes away from a screen, instead in front of the Arizona bench to Cannon. Can't get around the initial reach, so it's off to the left side. Evans enters it inside to Jones. Graham now bounces it back out. Cannon to the baseline right where Bell splits 2 defenders, puts it up with the left hand. It's not good. The rebound, though, had momentarily by Destiny Graham, is out of bounds. Cats get a couple of good looks, but cannot connect. Now 8 minutes and 5 seconds to go, and after each side strikes on their initial possessions, the defenses hold, and it's still a 7-point game. And a timeout is called by the Gardner Webb bench. So let's take it with them as Arizona leads 51-44 on Arizona IMG Sports. Huntsman trying to find some space around Cannon. Eventually hands off to Brown. Now coming to the near corner. We're putting the ball down and attacking the baseline is Curry. Back up top now. Brown steps inside the foul line. Shoots it up from 12 to score. 51-46, 7:35 remaining. Cats had a 10-point lead but could not extend. A 3-pointer at the buzzer and then a series of foul calls prevented them from really getting any distance as Cannon steps into a 10-footer. Had by Jones. She got the find. The Wildcats have a quick answer, and it's again a 7-point lead. 7:17 to go. Huntsman spinning around a couple of defenders. Nearly has it poked away. Nearly taken away again by Graham. She's able to get it back. I don't know how Arizona avoided not getting whistled there. Just judging off of the trend from the third quarter. Brown now on the attack with 10 seconds to go. Tries to gut from the left to the right side. Eventually puts up a shot. Nearly falls around Evans' defense. Now the ball is loose and a jump ball with the possession arrow favoring the Wildcats. Seven-point lead. The Cats with an opportunity to get it back to where it was before it happened. There, that three-pointer had by Huntsman. Boy, did that change the complexion of everything as Bell sets a screen to try to send Graham inside. Can't get it to her, so it's back outside to Bell. Cannon now on the right side. Starts to reversal to Evans on the left. 9 seconds to shoot as Evans goes to the high post, and Jones puts the ball down twice, gets through the lane, floats it up, and scores it. And it's a 9-point advantage with 6:24 to go here in the final ball game of the Puerto Rico Classic for the Wildcats as Evans nearly leads an outlet pass and knocks it out of bounds. Almost had the steal. Side out in front of the scorer's table. Huntsman gets the catch away from Cannon. Keandra Cannon has been playing some dynamite defense here the last two ball games as she is harassing this ball handler. Forces her into the interior and teeth of the Arizona defense. And as she puts up an air ball, she is knocked onto her keister, and a foul is called on Destiny Graham. Ashanti Coleman hops off of the Wildcat bench, just a second on Graham. As the first free throw from Huntsman's up and in. Coleman does replace Destiny Graham, so she joins LaBrittany Jones in the Wildcat front court. And another free throw coming up for Huntsman. As that one rimming in. 55-48, back to a 7-point advantage. Cannon, surrounded by Bulldogs, gets to the left elbow, shoots it off the front lip, off the glass and in, as it's again a 9-point lead, less than 6 minutes to go. Huntsman in the backcourt, again trying to shake Key's defense. Look at her go. Forcing her to the far sideline now as she's pounding the rock in front of the Gardner Webb bench. Got Parker setting a screen in the middle of the floor. Switched up. Jones is picked up by Coleman on the outside. Cannon nearly has a steal away. And another whistle. Coach Butts does not understand what's been going on. She's continuing to talk to the official, but the first free throw is not good. I just don't know what else to say. 2 fouls now called on the Wildcats. Gardner Webb still not yet been found guilty, as the second free throw is good. 57 now, 49. As Washington and Griffey come in to replace Evans and Bell. Cannon will remain out there to continue to defend Huntsman, I'm sure, as Gardner Webb trying to shake it up a little bit with some pressure in the backcourt. Wildcats get it to the middle of the floor, and Jones, who has a quick pass to Griffey, who's all alone now behind the three-point line. She knocks it down. This is the largest Arizona lead, 60-49, with Hill going on the attack, and she is able to score it with the right hand. And a timeout taken by Gardner Webb. Every time something is horned, I'm just kind of like, what could this be next? But in any event, fans, your Wildcats will be back in McHale on Tuesday, December 29th at 2 p.m. as they take on George Mason. It's Bring Your A game. All youths present your report card or an assignment with an A to the McHale ticket office on the day of the game and receive a $4 ticket. For tickets or more information, visit ArizonaWildcats.com or call 621-CATS. Wildcats had a 10-point lead right before halftime, but a Tiara Huntsman three-pointer made it a 7-point game. And then Arizona could not figure out how to defend at the start of the third. Gardner Webb winds up in the bonus about 2.5 minutes in, and eventually they're able to use 15 free throws to tie the ball game twice in the third quarter, but the Wildcats have responded. We're able to dig in, avoid whistles, and find a couple of good offensive possessions to reclaim a 7-point lead at the end of the third quarter. and just had a Taryn Griffey 3 go down to momentarily hold an 11-point lead, but 2 free throws later, it's 60-51, and Gardner Webb uses a timeout. I am unsure of how many more timeouts anybody has, but it seems as if the Bulldogs might not have any more. Arizona has 20 points from Taryn Griffey, 11 points from LaBrittany Jones, who has had a hard time finishing since she has reemerged, but not so today, as she's gone 4 for 9 from the floor. Also 9 points from Melina Washington and 7 from Mikkel Miller. So the Wildcats getting a variety of producers and leading 9 as a result. Now Jones puts the ball down and picks it up, and the Cats might need to call a timeout as Washington what's this? Well, okay, a timeout was called. Washington looked like she was going to be able to break the time strike, but she was really hustling. And the question I overheard from the Gardner Webb bench was, do they have 1 second to inbound it, or to get it over the time stripe? I've never heard that question asked, because they should have a full 10, but well, we'll see. LaBrittany Jones will come over and inbound on the sideline. Gardner Webb is going to allow everybody, let's hold their breath. Nope, they did get more than 1 second because Washington crossed over with 19 seconds to go. There's a screen waiting at either side. Washington tries to drop it off to the left, and Coleman, she's able to get the catch, step into a 15-footer and score it. 62-51, Olivia Parker has the inbound, trying to go back to Huntsman, but Keandra Cannon continues to frustrate. And she is now allowing her along the left sideline. Williams waiting to offer a screen. Now bounce it to the corner of the other side where Brown goes along and then finds Parker on the left block and scores it to again get it into single digits. 4.5 minutes to go as Griffey's trying to avoid a double team. Eventually roll it out to LaBrittany Jones. She's going to use an outlet pass to get it into the front court and find Coleman, who then fans off to Washington. Cats have used 12 seconds to get to this position. Coming off the baseline, Griffey now has it angle left. 12 seconds on the shot clock. As Griffey nearly has the ball swiped away from her, though she's able to go to the baseline left side. Jones, before she can go up and underneath, she over-penetrated. Looked like she kind of got caught between ideas, but fortunately she is hit and fouled. The whistle going against which Bulldog? It's going to be Parker. And LBJ back at the foul line. That one rims out. Second one on the way. And that's also good. Or that one is good. She's missed 2 now. I think I accused her of going 0 for 2 at one point, and she nearly has the inbound pass taken away and eventually does so. Now backing her way down, goes through the lane, find Coleman, is open from 5 feet away. It's not good. She gets bumped. Now reached in on. And a tie-up will get the ball back to Gardner Webb. 10-point Wildcat lead, 4 minutes and 3 seconds left. It looked like the Cats had an opportunity to really get some separation after the offensive rebound, but not so, as there is a touchdown being attempted and had by Brown, as she now going to work against Washington. Can't get that to finish, and there's LBJ with the rebound. Far sideline, Griffey stops at the three-point line, pulls up, hits. 66-53, Alexis Hill gets inside, goes to the baseline, and losing that one is Williams, but it's knocked away by one of the Wildcats. Three minutes and 42 seconds left in the ball game. The Cats have opened up a 13-point lead. Huntsman inbounds to Parker. Parker going one-on-one against Jones. Now has the ball stripped away by Cannon. Back outside to defend Huntsman's three-pointer. It's too strong off of the glass. Rebound, though, had by Hill. She's able to get it out to Brown to reset. Around to Parker's screen. She gets to the right block, picked up by Jones. Now trying to back down Cannon. Two players go down. The ball is loose and a tie-up with the possession arrow now favoring the Wildcats. Cats holding on to a 13-point lead. Taryn Griffey's three-pointer gives them the largest advantage that they've had. As Deja James now will trigger the offense from the baseline. Gardner Webb trying to set up a double team. Instead it's thrown out. James now penetrates, kicks it back out to Cannon, who could have shot a three-pointer. Instead Arizona wisely going to run some offense. Getting close to the 3-minute mark. Griffey, who's been leading all scorers, steps to her right, tries for another three-pointer. She's red hot. 69-53, the Wildcats opening things up as Cannon tried to move around a screen as she's got a hand on the hip and giving one of the officials the what for with silence. That's the third team foul on Arizona. Inbounding, Locklear trying to find Huntsman, but it's picked off by Cannon. She goes up and is reached in on and is fouled and will go to the line to shoot a couple. That's just the first on Huntsman. Keandra Cannon makes the first trip to the foul line. Second one on the way with the Wildcats continuing to expand their largest lead. And that goes up and in. 18-point now as Cannon is able to take away the inbound, get it out to James. And that could very well put this close to the deep freeze as Griffey is in the center circle, and Keandra Cannon's defense here in the second half has been remarkable as Washington nearly out. That's taken right away. Williams, with the help from Locklear, is able to get that one up and go end to score it. So, well, perhaps I had spoken too soon because there's still 2 minutes and 20 seconds to go, and just thinking that the Cats could continue the offensive play. As out of a double team, a pass is thrown by James to LaBrittany Jones, who has it on the left side of the hoop. She's able to finish with a left hand. Again, get an 18-point advantage. And Coach Butts calls a timeout just to get Destiny Graham in subbed for LaBrittany Jones. Gardner Webb going to its bench, but it's only to get the sub in, so did not, well, yep, a new player in there, Alyssa Jenkins coming in for the Bulldogs. Also Evelyn Adebayo is trying to get it off to Huntsman. Instead it's to the near side and Candace Brown. Brown dribbling through traffic. Goes to the left sideline. Matched up with Washington, now switched off as she tries to turn the corner around James, and Deja could not stay completely in front. It was called for the contact with the body and the dropping arm. But despite her third personal, the Cats leading 73-55. As the second half has been ongoing. First free throw is good from Brown. Second one rims out. Deja James has the rebound for the Wildcats to Griffey. He goes over to Lauren Evans, high off the glass. She can't get that one to fall, but she was able to initiate and get the whistle against Evelyn Adebayo, the freshman from London, England. As she will now go to the line with an opportunity to get the Wildcats their new largest lead as that one rings out. Second one coming up from Evans. It's good, 74-56. Keandra Cannon, much to the delight, I should say, of the Bulldogs, is on the bench. Her harassment will end for the evening almost certainly, as Locklear spinning around a couple of defenders. First Griffey, then James to get to the block and lose the window. Nice move to get to the block, or the hoop there to make it 74-58, but just a minute and a half remain. Griffey pounding the rock in front of the Wildcat bench, trying to find Destiny Graham. She uses a screen to get toward the corner. Now stops, goes along the baseline, adjusts her shot in midair. Cannot get the finish. There's Deja James with the rebound. Up underneath the bucket. She can't get there. Hasn't hit the rim yet. 9 seconds as Griffey runs the baseline now from the corner on the near side. How about another three-pointer? (77-58) as the entry pass is knocked away, stolen by Washington. Up in front of Evans as she's able to get the finish, and the Wildcats are putting it away. 79-58, 49 seconds to go. Arizona had a couple of scares in the third quarter, but the Cats are able to weather and then expand as they took a 7-point lead into the second half, 7-point lead out of the third quarter, and now are leading 79-58 as a couple of shots go up, and eventually, after a couple of offensive rebounds, Stanford is able to get the finish. And Coach Butts again taking a timeout to get Miller in. She wants to allow Taryn Griffey to get a round of applause. A well-earned round of applause. (79-60) now, 20 seconds to go. As Washington can now just hold on to the basketball. No reason to get a shot up. You hear the Gardner Webb bench say no foul. As Molina pounds it, the Wildcats snap their 2-game losing streak. Will run their record to 8-3 as the buzzer sounds. And the Cats escape Puerto Rico with a win. This one 79-60 after a couple of tough, narrow losses. The Cats back in the win column, and will wrap up non-league play on December 29th against George Mason. But we'll tell you more about this one right after this on Arizona IMG Sports. Yeah, you know, Nate, I try to keep my... What's that? Wait, say that all again. That these whistles continue? They were finally looking at me.